All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're decoding the complex biology of fat loss, and spoiler alert, we're going to reveal exactly why the scale so often lies to you. If you've ever felt totally baffled by how your body handles weight, well, you're in exactly the right place. We're going to pop the biological hood and see how this machine actually operates. So, if you've ever ruthlessly cut calories and just crushed exhausting workouts, only to look in the mirror and see your belly completely unchanged, you've undoubtedly asked yourself this exact, endlessly frustrating question. You put in the work, you make all the sacrifices, but the scale, it just refuses to budge. It honestly feels like a fundamental betrayal by your own body, doesn't it?
But here's where it gets really fascinating. What this quote from our sources is telling us is that your lack of immediate progress, it's actually a biological feature, not a bug, and definitely not a failure. Over millions of years of evolution, your body was specifically designed to hold onto that stubborn abdominal fat. It's the ultimate survival mechanism. So it's literally protecting you, even if it feels incredibly annoying in the modern world. Okay, here's our roadmap for the explainer. First, the belly fat puzzle. Then, adipose tissue as a buffer, the 7 stages of fat burning, the 2 weight loss stages, realistic timelines and expectations, and we'll wrap up with measuring your true progress.
Section 1. The belly fat puzzle. Let's move right into it.
The big misconception we have to bust right away is treating your fat like a simple gas tank that just gradually empties out as you drive. It doesn't work like that. Unlike a gas tank, your belly fat requires a highly precise, step-by-step biochemical sequence to unlock its deeply stored energy. It's more like a combination lock. If you miss even one number in the sequence, the vault stays completely locked, no matter how little you're eating.
Section 2. Adipose tissue as a buffer.
To really grasp fat loss, we have to look at this groundbreaking research by Professor Keith Frayne. He looked at the true systemic purpose of fat cells. You see, they aren't just these passive storage blobs. They're highly active, protective organs, acting as a buffer for your body. When they get overloaded, like in obesity, or if they're absent due to conditions like lipodystrophy, they fail to act as that protective sponge. And because they can't safely store the daily influx of dietary fat, well, that fat has to go somewhere, right? So it literally spills over into your liver, your muscles, and your pancreatic cells.
And as research from Saponaro and others highlights, this toxic accumulation of visceral fat and triglycerides actively drives hepatic insulin resistance. It kicks off this vicious cycle of metabolic dysfunction. Your body becomes resistant to insulin, which means it starts pumping out even more insulin just to compensate, and that extra insulin further locks away your stored fat.
Section 3. 7 stages of fat burning.
So the absolutely crucial point here is that to reverse this toxic spillover and actually burn abdominal fat, your metabolism has to execute 7 strict sequential stages without skipping a single step. Stage 1 requires your insulin levels to drop, period. It's the master switch. If insulin is high, an enzyme called lipoprotein lipase completely dominates your metabolism and keeps your fat cells locked strictly in storage mode. By the way, even a 0-calorie artificial sweetener can trigger a preemptive insulin response, keeping you trapped right here at stage 1.
Moving to stage 2, your body has to deplete the liver's 100-gram reserve of glycogen. Think of this as your body's preferred, easy-access carb energy. You know that intense early hunger you feel a few hours into a fast? Yeah, actually, that's just glycogen depletion, not fat burning. Your brain is essentially panicking because the easy fuel is running low.
In stage 3, your body finally sends out the signal to mobilize fat using adrenaline. But here's the kicker. Your belly fat is packed with these stubborn alpha-2 receptors. Think of them as biological brakes that just ignore normal adrenaline levels. So to override these blockers, you need a massive spike of adrenaline, the kind you really only get through high-intensity exercise or heavy resistance training. A gentle stroll around the block simply won't pick this lock.
Okay. Stage 4 happens deep inside the fat cell. Your stored fat is guarded by this protective protein armor called paralipin. Once the hormonal signals shift that armor aside, enzymes known as HSL and ATGL move in. They basically act as microscopic scissors, slicing complex triglycerides into free fatty acids so they can finally escape the cell. But, and this is a big but, a single spike in insulin from, say, a quick snack instantly deactivates those microscopic scissors. So in stage 5, these freed fatty acids have escaped the cell, but now they're stuck. They need an albumin taxi protein to travel through the watery bloodstream.
And since blood flow to stubborn belly fat is notoriously terrible, you actually need 10 to 20 minutes of light, continuous walking immediately after your hard workout to maintain the blood flow necessary to transport those newly freed fats. If you just collapse on the couch right after a hard workout, those fats literally get recycled right back into the cell.
Stage 6 takes us to the mitochondria, which are your cellular furnaces. Here, the CPT1 enzyme acts as an oven door. But this door is heavily guarded. It's only going to swing open if your cell's master energy sensor, called AMPK, signals that cellular energy is genuinely low. So it's a very precise signaling problem, not just a simple math equation of calories in versus calories out.
Finally, in stage 7, you are actually burning fat. But wait, there's a catch. Your body prioritizes burning dangerous internal visceral fat first, the fat you can't even see in the mirror. Meanwhile, your emptying fat cells temporarily fill up with heavy water just to maintain their shape, so the scale won't budge and your fat might even feel a bit squishier. But eventually, the cells adapt and release this water in a sudden overnight weight drop. We call this the whoosh effect. Sadly, most people quit right before the whoosh even happens.
Section 4, the 2 weight loss stages. Let's see how this deep cellular biology translates into the real world.
This is the reality of what the scale is telling you. That rapid 8 to 15 pound drop in the initial honeymoon phase, super motivating, for sure, but it's largely just water and glycogen. When you hit week 6 and progress inevitably slows down to 1 to 2 pounds a week during the maintenance phase, people totally panic. But listen, this is exactly when the real sustainable fat burning is actually happening. You're transitioning from just losing water to fundamentally reshaping your body.
Section 5, Realistic Timelines and Expectations.
Setting the right expectations is honestly half the psychological battle here. This timeline from the nutritional experts at Clean Eats gives us a really realistic roadmap. Just look at weeks 4 to 6. It takes a solid month to 6 weeks before you'll spot real visual changes in your progress photos. And it often takes up to 2 months before your friends and family start to even notice. If you throw in the towel at week 3 just because the scales slow down, you are quitting right before the visual shift happens.
Section 6. Measuring your true progress.
Because of the water retention and that invisible internal burning of visceral fat we just talked about, we need way better ways to track your success. The scale is quite literally blinding you to your hard work. Instead, you need to look at true indicators. Can you walk up a flight of stairs without getting winded? Are your jeans fitting a bit looser? And if you truly stall for weeks, do a strict 10-day food audit. Log absolutely everything to make sure hidden calories in cooking oils or weekend treats aren't secretly sabotaging your biochemical sequence.
So you have to trust the process. Remember that a plateau is very often just your biology temporarily holding on to water, preparing for that next big drop. You now know the 7 cellular stages required to unlock that stubborn fat. So I'll leave you with this question. Is the scale actually measuring your failure, or has it just been hiding your greatest biological success?